What's your dream? What's your vision? Where do you see yourself a year, 2, 3, 4 from now?
Yeah, it depends on the years. If you are asking about in 2 years,
Yeah.
there is certainly a difference between 2 years and 10 years. So I mean, in 2 years I have other goals than in 10 years. So in 2 years, I wish to have to live in America, and the first thing to be happy. But what I need to be happy is I want to have my both lives. I want to be a very successful mathematician that is doing research on very interesting stuff, new projects, maybe, I don't know, new approaches to new ideas. So working as a mathematician, getting my doctor's degree.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I still want to live, and this means I want to earn my money and doing my modeling stuff and being successful with my modeling life. This means I don't want to miss my life. The glamorous part of my life. I mean the expression with being a model, like working with arts and with photographers that have an artistic approach, and the communication is a certain, or the photographs or whatever is a certain art or certain way of communication. It's a hidden way of communication. The stuff I wear now is not like just because I want to look fancy. I mean, that's a communication. I'm telling you something with that.
Is there a conflict in your mind between being beautiful and glamorous, which you are, and the practicality of the organized mind, mathematics, theorems, strategies? Is that a conflict with you, or do you just incorporate both in your daily life?
For me, it's not a conflict. The conflict is not me. The conflict might be outside, when I talk to people, they probably don't understand it. But I don't feel a conflict. I feel comfortable that way. But people don't want to see both sides. They want to see only one side, like a cliche. So I have to be a cliche sometimes, but I don't want to be a cliche. I always have to fight against that. So that's the conflict, but it's not the conflict, it's not me. It's only that I have to always explain myself. This might be a conflict.
Because of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
A part of you has to be a cliche, does it not?
I am not against cliches at all. I mean, it makes life easier, simpler. But I want to address the smarter people that are looking for something else than a cliche. I can be cliche for certain people, I don't mind. I mean, if they leave me alone and I do my stuff, my life, everything, I'm fine. But I like to address people that are interested in something more than a cliche, to see more than that.
When did you first become aware of the fact that you would like to model in the particular way that you model? Because your style of modeling is obviously different than most. You have you have adopted this kind of unique retro model perspective. I'm curious as to when and how that began first in your mind.
I've seen a lot of different movies from the 50s, and I like the image, I like the people in the movies, the gentlemen, how they treated the women, and they were nice, and you know, the role allocation and everything, it was perfect. Everybody was so, the behavior of the people was just so, I don't know, cool, perfect in a certain way. So I added this image to my concept, next content, and we take everything together, mix it, just put everything in one bowl, and the result was the thing you can see today.
You saw Audrey Hepburn, you saw Clark Gable, you saw the young Marilyn Monroe on screen. And was there something about their vibe, their look, their attitude that you said, I'd like to pattern my professional life over that look? Is that what happened? I don't want to put words in your mouth, I just want to understand.
Yeah. There have been two important things. One thing was that I liked the way that just the looks of those women. I mean, the looks, it was always sexy, but still innocent. Not like nowadays, not sexy naked, but sexy, very innocent, sexy. And very beautiful. They just look like women, not like whatever. So in a very innocent way. I mean, the mixture between sexiness and innocence. This was very interesting to me. And the second thing was like, the relationship between women and men.
And at that point, you decided you could do that. You could look that way as a young Marilyn Monroe, as an Audrey Hepburn, as a being from the 50s, as a retro woman that combines innocence and sexuality. You said, I'm going to try that out?
And no, it was not, I was thinking I have to try that out. It was more like an inspiration. And there is, I added a modern twist to it, a personal twist.
The what twist?
A personal one. A
personal twist.
Personal twist. So I didn't want to be a copy of, Audrey Hepburn or Marilyn Monroe or whatever. Just be a copy in our times. But I want to be. It's me. So it's just an inspiration, and with a lot more than only the 50s. But it's a very important part of the whole thing, of my personality.
And what'd you do?
I just was open-minded, was studying books and films, movies, and still was listening to my real personality. So I added everything together, and it's like it's very I don't know, it's not a mathematical approach. Nothing like you can analyze it and just like say it was this and this. It was like growing, very organic, growing. Everything was one thing, and then it was still growing. It's still growing. It was like started at a certain point, and I let it grow. It's not that I am planning it. I'm not thinking I have to be like this. And so it's like I have a certain feeling that it's right for me to do that. And then I do it. Or to try this. But it's not that I think about it, I have to do it and to try it, but it's more like I feel it in a certain way. That it's right for me.
You started developing a following in Germany.
Yeah.
You started developing a following in Europe. And people were looking at pictures of you that were connoting these feelings that you described as being a combination of sexuality and innocence, predicated upon an earlier time. And those forces led you to the United States.
Probably, yes.
And it is here that you would like to take it a cut deeper, which is one of the reasons that you've come to speak with me this evening, right?
Yes, could be. It is very personal. Millions of people will watch that.
Well, would you prefer it be impersonal?
No. So proceed with that.
One of the things that you will find in terms of your ultimate media image is that the more revelatory you are, the more honest that you speak of your experience, your dreams, your wishes, the more they will trust you. The more they will believe you. And the more that you will be more than just a pretty face. Think of some of those names that you've already mentioned.
Yeah.
Think of Audrey Hepburn, who not only looked the way she looked in Breakfast at Tiffany's,
Yes.
but then went on to spend the latter part of her life working for the United Nations as an ambassador, traveling the world as a humanitarian. It didn't detract from her movie career. She was an early Angelina Jolie. That if passion comes from a part of your heart that's real, not just Hollywood hype, and people recognize that, it makes you a special and unique being.
But they can hurt you, right? I mean, when you reveal a lot of your personality and your passion,
That's what
they can hurt you if they want to. I mean, it's pretty risky. You could be hurt
It's
if you're
very
at your
risky.
own.
Look at the second name that you mentioned after Audrey Hepburn,
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe.
Okay.
They hurt her, didn't they?
Yes. I think
She
so.
revealed whatever she could reveal, and when people started looking into her personal life and other experiences, we know the sadness that surrounded Marilyn's life and her death.
Yeah.
So in answer to your question, yes, when you are revelatory, when you are truthful, and when you're honest,
Yeah.
they can admire you and appreciate you, and they can try and tear you down.
But you will still give me the advice to be honest and reveal my personality and take the risk.
Yes.
And how can you protect yourself? I mean, when you're like this, you need some kind of protection. You cannot just like be at your own and that's it. Right?
It brings me to my first piece of media advice for you.
Okay.
Because you have quite intelligently opened a very important door. And the question that you're asking is, well, okay, Elliot, I get it. The first thing you're telling me is for me to be completely open, honest, revelatory, not hide beyond some kind of an image, but to present yourself as you are, including the mathematician, the woman who fell into the darkness of goth, the woman who emerged as a result of seeing something about the way that men and women react in what we'll call the Clark Gable, Marilyn Monroe tradition, combining your obvious physical attractiveness with your wisdom plus an instinct, and I discern, I feel, a sense of loneliness and a sense of alienation, a wish and a dream, a sense of insecurity. Yeah, I'm telling you, show it all. Don't pretend. Don't try and come off as a woman who is in total command of LouLou, because you are not an algebraic equation.
No, not at all.
Oh, maybe a little, but The first piece of advice is that the more honest you can be, the more attractive you're going to be.